Guys, what's going on? As promised, I wanted to do a live Q&A with everybody and getting my learn on, listening to a little bit of the Spartan Up podcast, doing some work, clearing out my calendar. I'm going to show you guys quickly. And actually, I just posted on Instagram. So, doing some crush grip work. Got some unique Iron Mind crushers. These are like smoother ones, a little bit more slippery on the grip. Then we got their traditional one. This is the number 1. I'm just working on that grip. Strong hands is a strong man. So I'll show you guys how I cleared out my calendar. If you could see here, I've got some large, I don't know what these are, maybe a 3x6, something like that, whiteboards. And what I like to do is plan 3 to 4 months in advance. Anthony Ashenalt in the house. Interesting, the first guy on the live is an All-American. Ray Jazz second. Ray Jazz is second. And, this quote, seeing that Ray Jazz is second, would not apply to Ray Jazz. But in the SEAL teams, they say second place is the first loser. So Ray Jazz will probably want to work extra hard now that Anthony Ashenalt beat him to being the first guy live. So I'm going to take some questions from everybody. They could be training, they could be business, they could be lifestyle. They're all intertwined. So what I like to do here is have 4 months in advance of projects, big things that are going up. Right now I'm doing some filming with my buddy Chris Perilli. His company is Pixel Mob, and we're doing some filming at Scotch Plains and Manasquan Underground Strength Gym. So bring people inside the underground in a very unique way. I think a lot of the programs out there are teaching you how to train or how to do program design. And I'm not going to give up the title yet, but we're basically bringing you inside the mindset of the purpose behind being a coach. Whether it's a strength coach or not, having a deep-rooted mission about why you're doing what you're doing. Because being an independent strength coach is friggin' hard. You don't just get to focus on the training of the athletes. You have to spend all this time, all this energy. You've got to learn more about how to educate people about what it is you do, even though you are last on their list. You are the first thing to get removed from their list, and you are last on their idea. I take my kids to all these different sport clubs, wrestling, baseball, tennis, and these places are packed. But you go to a strength and conditioning center, and you are last on that list of, do I need to get my child stronger, tougher, faster? They don't really understand what it's about. So when you have that deep-rooted purpose, I was asked recently, what would I do if I won $10 million? And as I said, well, I'd still be training athletes. But everybody would have a target on their back. A target on their back meaning you slack just a little bit, you are out. I have a good understanding that kids are going to take some time to turn the corner and get tough. Not everybody's going to be like a Ray Jazz or an Anthony Ashenalt who's rolling through, but I'm going to want people that are fired up. Vince Anello, world record holder, is in the house again. Vince, thank you for stopping by. Let's take some questions from you guys. Go ahead and drop your questions. Could be training, could be business, could be whatever questions you've got. Strong lifestyle tips. Here's where we go. Okay, George, got a question. Let's prop you guys up here. George is asking, what's your approach on increasing your anaerobic threshold? So depending on what exactly you're training for, George, that's where things get most specific for me, at least, and what I do at the underground. So if an athlete is lacking in their anaerobic conditioning, which is that sprint type conditioning, speed endurance, power endurance is what I tend to work with for our athletes, because a basketball player has to constantly explode, be explosive for extended amounts of time during a game, at the end of the game. Same with football, soccer, lacrosse, wrestling. They've got to be explosive in the third period, in overtime. So first and foremost, I want them to train that way while they're doing their skill work. It is the ultimate in specificity, and if if they can't push themselves, basically, I train a lot of wrestlers, so I'm going to use the wrestling analogy. In the summer of 1990 and the summer of 1992, I attended the John Smith Intensive Wrestling Camp. I watched how he drilled. He had 2 guys drilling with him who could not keep up with him. He drilled so aggressively and so fast that he was just destroying them. And he said, your best form of conditioning is hard drilling, not so much the hard wrestling. So when people train, they must train hard. So I could organize a program. Let's say for you, George, I'm not sure if you're doing anything specific, but let's say you're just wanting to get into that better power endurance mode, anaerobic conditioning. I'm going to do sprint repeats with you. They could be 400-meter repeats, 200-meter repeats with incomplete recoveries once I start getting your speed up. If I see that you're starting to drop off and you can't maintain speed, let's say your 400-meter time is 70 seconds. I want you to be able to do 4 of them. I'm going to start off with maybe a 1.5 to a 2-minute rest period. So about a 2 to 1 or 1 to 2 work, 2 rest. Then I'm going to bring it down to a 1 to 1 and then 1.5. So I'm going to reduce those rest periods on you. 5 to 12 minute windows. So sounds like CrossFit, or could be very much like a wrestler. Some of the college wrestlers, their matches go with overtime, criteria overtime. They could go into the 10, 11 minute mark. So I'm going to do repeated bouts of explosive activity with you. So you'll do a sled drag, then you'll do burpees, then you'll do squat jumps or lunge jumps, then you'll do a carry, then you'll do kettlebell snatches, or we keep it super simple and make it more specific, and I see, what is the sport you're in? Jiu-jitsu. The best skill in the best way, George, and now that our Scotch Plains location, I'm inside of an MMA building. We have a wrestling club, and we have Vitor Shaolin Jiu-Jitsu. We're going to want to see aggressive drilling. So when I'm training our guys in season, I actually don't do conditioning work with them. I want them to wrestle their ass off, or I want them to do, let's say it's a football player or a soccer player, they should be taking care of their specific conditioning through the sport. If I add more conditioning on top, there tends to be a negative effect where it actually decreases their anaerobic or their sport-specific conditioning. If it's in the off season, then I have to, take into account what is it that they need to work on, and just building that larger base of GPP, or what's called general specific. General specific might be, I'm not training, obviously, their sports skill when they're with me, but I'm going to do timed things. So for a wrestler, it might be 2 to 3 minutes of hard work of some sort of a circuit, 30-second rest, 3 or 4 sets. For you in jiu-jitsu, try this, George. Try doing from your back, try doing arm bars, left side, right side, for a minute nonstop, a minute rest. Then do it for a minute 30, or Kimura one side, Kimura the other side, triangle, triangle, going back and forth. So you're doing speed drilling. That is the most specific form of conditioning you're going to be able to get the most bang for your buck from. We got a question here from Colin. It says, what do you think of having an all bodyweight day, a weight training day, then a strongman day as my workouts through the week? Let me see more here. I utilize the exercise I learned from the Underground Strength Coach certification and the encyclopedia. Colin, I love it. I think the strongman training, depending on how aggressive you are with it, how intense you are with it, it might beat you up. So I've done many different programs. I can't recall if I wrote about it in the encyclopedia, but I would do one day of strength work with heavy free weights, could be some odd objects in the mix. The next day was bodyweight bodybuilding. Third day off. So I would go 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, weekend off. Weekends off for me, even though it's off, I'm with my kids, I'm outside, it's summertime, we're surfing, we're at the beach, we're playing baseball, tennis. So it might be off from a traditional, gym workout, but not truly off from activity. George, my pleasure, my man. George, where are you doing jiu-jitsu? I'd love to know. What other questions we got here? Carly Davis, welcome. Carly, I will be back in North Carolina one day this year to do a seminar with Travis. Cool, man. It's my pleasure to share the knowledge. I'd love to do it. Carlos Ortiz, welcome, my man, from California. Doing some good stuff out west with the high school kids, running a STRONGLife group, I think. You have something like that. I love seeing that. What other questions do we have, guys? And Colin, my pleasure. Do a little bit of crush grip as you guys are posting up some questions. Training does not stop. This is an interesting gripper. And when you guys do the gripper, you have to touch the bottoms. And I always do extra work for the left hand because the left hand is weaker. And I don't have time to be weak. It's amazing, you know, this would be called Grease the Groove. I've written about that on the blog. I bet you if you guys just Google Grease the Groove Zach Evnesh, you'll come across that article. It's a powerful training tip that I even advise to our athletes, from beginner to our more experienced athletes who are lifting, especially our beginners. They're so weak that once they start to get fatigued, they also don't have the self-discipline or even the know-how to maintain technique on push-ups, pull-ups, and so on. So I tell them, I go, I want you to wake up, and I want you to do 5 push-ups, 5 squats. Come home from school, do that again. Do that again after dinner and maybe again late at night. That's 20 reps in a day across Monday through Friday. That's 100 across the month. Now we're looking at 400 squats and push-ups across the year. That's 4,800 only if you do 5 and 5. Angel Borimex in the house. Good to see you, my man. And usually I have the kids, I say, guys, I want you to build up to being able to do pull-ups like this, lunges. All of this basically is keeping them active. We're like, you know, we're in this day and age where kids, they don't do any strength work. They don't move their body. They do everything organized. So you have to, as a parent, as a coach, as anybody of influence, you guys have to find ways to, if you're a coach, to get these kids to stay active and do strength work. Because if they're just doing sport work, you know, we have freshmen showing up at the Underground Strength Gym, freshman football players, athletes who can't do a push-up. Yesterday we had a kid who was unable to do a push-up with his hands elevated on a bench. He had to do kneeling push-ups. We should never be in that place. We need the physical education teachers working that, correcting that. We need the coaches doing proper stuff, not this weight room supervisor BS. It cheats the kids. Parents out there listening, find the local strength coach in your area, do some fundraising, and get the local strength coaches to show up and do the weight room work for the kids. As I always say, kids are number one. They deserve the best. We shouldn't be trying to shortchange them or cheat them out of that stuff. What other questions do you guys have? And Colin, my pleasure. It's always good to hear and see you guys signing in, dropping questions. What other questions do you guys have here? Matt Vanshock, what's happening? Alec Donovan in the house. A lot of wrestlers joining up. Alec, hope everything's going good for you up in Hackettstown, Centenary College. Little history lesson for you, Alec. I bought my first car, 1992, up in Hackettstown. And coming from Edison, I had not seen the woods like that. So I recall going to get the car. The owner lifts the hood up, and one of those pygmy goats jumps on my car. That's one of those miniature-sized goats. 1992, don't think many of you young kids were even born. Dan Ryder from the UK, Heaven and Hell Fitness. Man, I'm not sure if you're scaring people away or attracting people with that. Chris Cavallerano joined, and Chris gifted me with another copy of Tim Ferriss's Tools of Titans. And So here's what I have. One stays down here in the office, one stays upstairs and floats from upstairs to the main floor as I'm reading it. This morning I actually did not do my writing first. I started reading first and journaling, picking up some inspiration and information from the book. Let's get some questions going. Dan Ryder, what questions would you have, my man? What questions do you have? As I'm getting stronger, as you guys come up with questions. Extra work on the left hand. Okay, no questions from you guys. Bunch of nerds. Let me tell you guys something that I read recently. Dan Ryder does have a question. What nutrition guidance do you give to your youth athletes? So Dan, when athletes sign up, their parents get a welcome packet. Welcome packet talks about how the membership works, how often we expect them to train, and myself, John Welburn, and Travis Mash put together a mini book called From Good to Greatness. I would have said From Good to Great, but Luke Summers, who's the right-hand man at Power Athlete, said that proper English is From Good to Greatness. Anyway, the three of us put basic nutrition foundations in there, and inside my welcome packet, I also have sample meals, but I tell the parents, I go, you know, if there's religious reasons or food allergy reasons, you can come up with your own substitutions, but we look for breakfast, your own lunch, never buying the school lunch, eating after school, having dinner, and then late at night dinner leftovers. So a sample would be for breakfast, we want some eggs, egg omelet, eggs and oatmeal mixed with fruit, cereal with a banana sliced up in it. Preference is getting that protein in the morning, having eggs. Pretty amazing how some kids just don't eat, or their parents don't parent the kid and basically say he won't wake up, he doesn't wake up, he's a picky eater. So a big part of the thing of a strength coach is you're educating parents and you're telling them how to be a parent. You're saying, look, don't put shit food in the house, and eventually your son is going to have to eat the healthy food. So they're going to have to eat the food, not the French fries and the pizza that you're buying. Do not buy school lunch ever. It's just a bunch of crap. Pack a lunch. If they need weight gain, we say 2 sandwiches, turkey, ham, roast beef, tuna sandwich, stuff like that, cheese on those sandwiches. Have a cup of yogurt, have a piece of fruit, and drinking milk. Come home from school, have a sandwich, have dinner leftovers, make yourself a protein shake. We even teach them how to make a protein shake without buying protein powder. Unfortunately, they buy a lot of the crappy stuff out of GNC, which has fabricated and exaggerated nutrition quote-unquote facts posted on the back of the bottles or the jugs. You know, they say it's 30 grams of protein when it might only have 15 grams of protein. And then dinner and dinner leftovers. Focus on healthy protein, healthy fats. And of course, we're giving these guidelines for teenage athletes, preteen athletes. So you can't eat all these sandwiches and stuff like that when you're in your 30s and 40s. Your body doesn't respond to that kind of food. Somebody like me, I'm sometimes having breakfast, sometimes I'm skipping breakfast, but I'll eat eggs during the day, meat, veggies, try to get a salad a day. I'll still eat, pasta and carbohydrates. Here and there, I'll have a sandwich. Here and there, I'll have a bowl of cereal. But for the most part, trying to eat as clean as possible. Dan Ryder, there you go. Colin says, one more question. Is it okay to hit a muscle group 2 to 3 times per week? Absolutely, dude. You just have to switch up the intensity and switch up the angle from where you're hitting it. It may not be the most optimal way for you to get strong. So you will have to test drive that, Colin. Some people respond great to the volume of work. So let's say you're at Westside, you're going to be dragging a sled all the time. You're working your lower back all the time. Maybe not through a deadlift, but through back extensions, kettlebell swings, and so forth, glute ham raises. Things change as you get older, as you change. In my younger years, when I was making some tremendous gains, I would lift only every other day. And after leg day, I would take 2 days off. And I was on a 4-way bodybuilding split. And I got strong. That does not work for me now. I pretty much feel like I got to train Monday through Friday and stay active on the weekends. Today, as of now, I'm taking a day off. But when I'm at the gym later on, I'll probably be doing some light work anyway. So everything's a test, Colin. Thumbs up for that. What I would do, Colin, is I would lay out a 3-month program, 12 weeks, follow it and stick to it. I think one of the biggest factors in success from a program is, do you buy in? Or if you're training others, do they buy in? So you got to speak their language for them to buy in. So if you believe in the volume of training, then go for it. There's so many examples of programs that have worked, from the Dorian Yates 1 set, 2 sets to failure, training every other day, or 1 day on, 2 days off. To guys that did volume work. So there's a lot of factors that go into the success of a training program, because you're just training, right? Now you need to see your nutrition, your lifestyle, your mindset. How hard are you training? What does the technique look like on your movements? You and I are squatting, but what does your squat look like? So there's all these factors. There's kind of this web that makes the main structure operate properly or not so well. And all of these little things add up to big things. Technique, mindset, nutrition, sleep, consistency, progress. It all counts. So training, lifting is one part of the program. Training is everything. And I'll leave that to brew on your mind. Matt Vanchok says, I'm on vacation in Orlando. Any gyms or people to visit down here? I think there's Orlando Barbell. I was on the QnA with him from Elite FTS. I forget his name. But one of the strongest powerlifters out there. So I guarantee if you look up Orlando, nowadays with CrossFit and all these strength coach gymnasiums, it's probably pretty darn easy to find a place to train. We've had some certified underground guys come from the Orlando area as well. CJ Appenzeller's in the house. CJ is going to be joining the Strength Coach Brotherhood gathering that we're going to be having. Got it up here on my calendar, January 12th and 13th. And here's what we do during these kind of gatherings, guys. They're not a traditional, quote-unquote mastermind. It's a little bit more loosely organized, where I'm not saying, oh, you only have an hour. We train, we spend time in the gym because that's where we're from. I don't like working with, make-pretend coaches who are not, they don't walk the talk. We're going to do some hiking at the local state park. Of course, we're going to lift, and we're going to go out and grab some grub, and it's going to be a 2-day ass-kicking event. My brother Alon just signed on, and Alon, hope your shoulder's doing well after surgery, and that's it, man. My brother has like 12 kids. I can't even count anymore. So what other questions do we have, guys? In between questions, crush grip. Crush grip. I'm going to give you guys a little tip that I want you guys to follow. Doesn't matter if you own a business or not. So I want everybody to have some sort of a whiteboard in their office. Okay, I've got 2 there. I've got 1 there. I've got 1 that's over there. That's a little bit more for brainstorming and kind of doing work. So the first one here, I make columns, okay? And I block out 3 or 4 months ahead of time. The other one over here is more what I call for mind mapping, coming up with ideas and putting them out in front of me so that I can see what the hell I'm thinking about. Otherwise, my brain will explode. And then you have like a main calendar. You could have something small like this, where you're mapping out big things to come up. So we could call it goal setting. I just call it being organized, also known as get your head out of your ass and be a fucking boss. So what I like to do is know where I'm moving towards. Otherwise, you're very busy. You're not productive. So in January, I see we've got the Strength Coach Brotherhood Gathering that's coming up. I've got some filming that needs to be done. A coaching group that will begin with my buddy Jeremy Boone. So there's things that are going to be happening. Then I'm going to map out February, March, April, and even the rest of the year. That way, I know where I'm going. I'm not, fly by the seat of my pants. What I used to do when I had my office upstairs is I had like a small section on the whiteboard categorized for each day of Monday through Friday. So I remember Monday was going to be something like blogging and getting automated the first 3 emails of the week. Tuesday was half a day spent on gym marketing, gym blogging, gym writing. Monday was also spent like programming for the week. So staying super organized and blocking out each day of what is going to get done, what is going to get accomplished. And that is crucial because I've seen many people where, let's say I'm 41 and let's say I haven't seen them for a couple of years, they're still stuck in the same place they used to be in. But if you have the vision in front of you and you see, the map and you see the journey of what is ahead, it's like it just keeps you on track and you're always moving forward, because if you're not getting better, you are getting worse. And that's a big issue with people that are trying to accomplish goals, is that they don't really know where they're going. They spend inordinate amounts of time wasted on Flakebook and just wasting their time. But right now on Facebook, I'm being productive. I'm going to leverage this. I will take this information and put it on YouTube. I might pull the audio and turn it into a Strong Life podcast. But what I'm always doing is making sure that the activity that I'm doing has something that's moving me forward, that's moving the ball, down towards the end zone. And I think you need to be very, very careful with how you utilize your time. If it's a waste of time, then don't do it. Period. That's it. Freddie Sandoval in the house, Underground Strength Coach. Welcome, brother. And I want to get 1 or 2 more questions, guys, before I cut it. I'm gonna maybe pull up the Twitter and see if anybody posted questions there, or actually see if somebody posted questions to Facebook that I did not see. Let's see what we got here, guys. All right, guys, post up another question. If you're here, again, super important. If you're here and you're just watching, no good. You're not maximizing your time or utilizing it as best as you can. Drop a question. Get smarter from this. What is the thing that's frustrating you now, that's keeping you up at night? Post that question below and let me help you. You want to take advantage of live Q&A times. Otherwise, you're doing what I just said not to do, which is the waste of time. All right, and give 10 more seconds till I close it out here, guys. See what questions you got. And while I'm waiting for that last question, for those of you who have missed it, show you a little bit. Oh, CJ's asking trademarks on a logo and business name. I have gotten trademarked. I'll have to dig up my trademark attorneys. They're actually out in San Diego. I'll dig it up for you, and maybe you could email me. I could send that to you, but my trademark attorney actually passed away, and then his partner took everything over. I trademarked Underground Strength Coach, and honestly, I don't have the time, energy, money, desire to chase the many people down who call themselves Underground Strength Club, Underground Strength Training, all this bullshit. I'm more of a karma guy, where I believe if you're trying to burn other people, you're really just a chicken shit. People will be like,